Hello everyone, it's week 3 of the nature prompt in the Facebook group, the Mixed Media Emporium, and the challenge for this week is insects. As you can see here, my chosen insect is bees. I received this lovely selection of Happy Mail from Edna Morgan in the Facebook group a couple of weeks ago, and it's just absolutely perfect for this week's challenge. So this is what I'm going to use. Before I pull out any other bits and bobs or do anything else, I do want to ink around the edges in some Distress ink in frayed burlap. So I'm going to start off by doing that first. Now you can interpret this prompt in any way you like, you know, paint insects, do a collage, you know, do a journal page. It really is entirely up to you. Don't forget to go and check out and see what Kylie's up to this week as well, because, you know, as I always say, no doubt she will come up with something completely different to me. So I'm just going to go around all of these with the Distress ink, and as soon as I've done that, I'll come back around the edges of all of the pieces of ephemera. So I'm happy with that. We can pop those off to one side. And I've also pulled out some vintage papers as well, ledger papers and invoices and that kind of thing. These were sent to me in the Your Creative Studio ephemera box. I can't remember which month. I think it was January. Some of them are just little offcuts from left over from projects that I've made in the past as well. I've got 2 full sheets and these are a bit too big, so I think what I'll do is maybe cut these down. Let's just tear these, not trying to overthink it, and I'm just going to build myself a background. So let's just put the ephemera off to one side. Let's try and do something with this. Again, as I've said, not trying to overthink it, trying to be random, which, as you know, is quite difficult for me. But we can do this. We can do this. Let's pop that there like that. In fact, actually, I'll have that upside down. I do want the pages going in different orientations, just so that it doesn't look contrived. Let's just try and fill the space. What else have we got left? And maybe that one there. I think that's enough. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I like that. Do I want a bit more in the top right hand corner here? Perhaps I'll try putting that one the other way around. It just looks a little bit bare. Yep, I think I prefer that. So I am going to stick this down, and as always I'll take a photograph of this first, just so that I can remember how I've got them placed. That's my basic background. I'm really happy with that. Now this piece here was just a little bit short, and so what I'm going to do to disguise that edge is just ink around the edges, and then I'm going to keep this as a master, and I'm going to take this off to my photocopier and just print out a copy so that I can just use this to create lots and lots of different styles of Masterboard. That will be really handy to have in my stash. Now this is the photocopy of my Masterboard, so you can see that there's very little difference. If anything, this one's come out slightly brighter. So this will go off with the rest of my Masterboard originals. I shall keep hold of that. Now when you print them out at home, you always get a border. You can see that mine's slightly wonky. All I've done with this, I've taken it off to the paper trimmer, cut around it and inked around the edges again. Now I get asked the question all the time, what printer am I using at home? Bear with me, let me just get my bits and bobs. My printer is the Hewlett-Packard OfficeJet Pro 7740. I absolutely love it. I've had it for, oh gosh, probably about 18 months now. It is a monster, but the print quality is absolutely superb. Now, again, another question I get asked is what paper do I use? Because as you know, I used to get copies done at my local printers, but because of lockdown, it's just been really difficult to do that. But I did ask what paper they use, and it is the Mondi colour copy paper. So this is the packaging. This paper here is 200 GSM. They do it in all different paper weights, but this is just absolutely wonderful and holds the colour really well. Carrying on with my bee-themed background, I've pulled out a stencil, a beehive stencil, and I'm just going to use some Distress Oxide in fossilised amber, which I thought would go really well. And I'm just going to try and be random about this. I don't want them absolutely everywhere. We'll have some in different directions as well. Let's just add a few touches of detail, especially in the blanker areas like this. Where else can I have some? Let's add some down here. Try not to move my stencil around too much. It's going a bit heavier there so that we can actually see it. Do I like that? Yeah, that looks cool. There we are, and we'll just add some up here as well. I like that, and we could do with some on this piece here again. I'm going to have to go a bit heavier on that because of course it's a darker background, and I think that should do fine. I like that. And then bring back my bee ephemera. Let's have a look and see what we can do with this. Where are the larger pieces? Maybe we can have this one here in the centre. That one there perhaps. We need one. Too many reds together. Let's have that one over there. Where can this one go? And oh, we've run out of space. How can I do this? Maybe we can have this one over here. And it is just a case of playing around with things until you're happy with placement. Maybe I could have it something like that. Do I like that one over there better perhaps? No, it's going to have to be like that. So again, I think I'm going to glue this down as well. But again, I shall take a photograph of it just so that I can remember where I want them to go. This is my original, and again I've taken this off to the photocopier, and I've had a couple of copies printed out. Let me just show you the difference. I've put this on best quality, and it does come out a little bit brighter, as you can see. In fact, actually, the colours are quite different on this one here, but I'm okay with that. That's fine. Now, what do I want to make? And what I want to do is make myself an envelope with it. Now, I have worked it out that will be facing in the right direction. That will, if I fold it over. So I'm just going to score the bottom first. And I just want to go past this piece of ephemera here. So there we go. That will be my fold line there. And I can fold that over. And then I want that one to go more or less off to the top. Let me just make a mark then, and then I can fold down there as well. Let's have a look. Now that I've made that fold mark, I just need to make sure that I've got it in the right place. There we go, like that. And then fold there. Now, because I've trimmed off the excess around the edge, it's not quite even, so I'm just going to take this off to the paper trimmer, trim down the sides. I need to take a little smidge off the top as well, and then I'm just going to whiz this through the sewing machine. I'll ink around the edges though first, once I've straightened up my edges. So I've trimmed the edges so that they're nice and even, and I've taken a smidge off the top as well, just so that we've got a bit of a gap. I do want to round the corners, just because I think that always looks nicer. This is 200 GSM cardstock, by the way. It's that paper, that colour paper that I showed you earlier, so nice and sturdy. I don't think I want to round the corners there. I do want to take a semicircle out of the top there. Let me just find my circle punch. I've got my circle punch, and I'm just going to eyeball it and just take a small amount off there. There we go, that will do fine. And then, before I ink around the edges, I just want to use some of the fossilised amber, just with one of these sponges here. And I'm just going to colour the inside slightly, because it just looks far too white. So let's just, in fact, we'll add some here as well. I'm happy with that. I've also inked around the outside as well, just using some frayed burlap. And I'm just going to take this off to the sewing machine, but that's what it looks like on the back, and that's what it's like on the front. My stitching is now added, and the way that I did it, I started off here and just went all the way round and stopped there, because obviously I didn't want to sew the bottom, and I just went over that twice, so we've got some messy stitching going on. I do want to punch a hole so that I can add an eyelet. Hang on, let's have a look. I have made a mark where the centre is. I want that to go there, like that. I've got myself an eyelet as well, so I'm just going to try and pop this through. There we go. And then use my eyelet pliers just to, hang on, get them the right way round. It would help and give that a good squeeze. There we go. So that's nice and neat. I like that. I just need to decide what I want to use for a closure. Now I'm going to use some of this seam binding for my closure. So let's just pull this in. I've measured the amount that I think I want to use so that I don't waste it. There we go. Let's just see how that works. Yep, you see that's fine. So I'm just going to trim. Let me just make that even so that I can make an even snip. What have I done with my fabric scissors? So there we go, and that can just go through there like that. So let's make some bits and pieces to go inside it. I'll fathom that out in a second or two. Isn't that pretty? Look who's come to pay a visit. Now I know that quite a few of you have been asking to see Louis recently, and he's just appeared. Are you going to sit down for a second? Come on, you, be good. Let me see if I can get him to sit down. Here we go, finally sat down. Can you hear him purring away? Show everybody your gorgeous tummy, eh? I hope you can see his face as well. Oh, yes, you are beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Right, are you going to let me get on with some work now? Hey? Going to let me get on with some work? I just want to make a couple of pieces of ephemera to go inside of here. I've pulled out some bee-themed images from my stash, and I think I want to glue that one there like that. I'm going to go for it again. I'm just going to ink around the edges just to frame it. And I shall just stick this down here like this. Let me stand up to make sure I get that straight. I think I like it there, maybe a bit lower down. Yep, that's about right. I've been using my glue stick, by the way, to glue all of these pieces down today. Like how that looks. I've also inked around the edge of this piece of paper here as well, and I've pulled out a piece of Khadi paper spelt Khadi, and I think I'm going to sew around the edges and use this as a background. I do want to rough up the edges though. Now, have I got my foot pumice? No, can't seem to find it. That seems to have gone walkabout. What I'll do, I'll use a pair of scissors. What I'm going to do is just scrape my scissors along the edge like this, just to grunge it up. I'll do that on all sides, and then I'm just going to take this off to the sewing machine and I'll sew that on there like that. You can see I've grunged the edges up using my scissors. I've applied a small amount of glue just in the centre of the paper as well, just to hold it in place. And I'm just going to take it off to the sewing machine now and just sew all around the edge. I just love how that looks. That's really cool. And you can see my sewing isn't perfect, but you know, I just love that look. I do want to add another bee just up here somewhere. Now, are these perforated around the edge? I don't think they are. So what I'll do is I'll just fussy cut this bee out. I want this one here, this little bee here. There we go. And in fact, I can trim closer around it as well. Let's just fussy cut now. Doesn't have to be perfect because this is vellum sticker anyway, so you won't be able to see the edges. So I'll just cut around here like this. There we are. And then I'm just going to use my pokey tool. Where's it gone? Here we go. Just to peel off the under layer. Have I got it? Oh, there we go. Hang on, I've lost it. Where's it gone? There we go. Peel off that backing, and I want my bee to go there like that. Love that. That's cool. That's added a nice touch there. And now I just want to ink around the edges. Just using the ink that's already there on the pad, getting those little nooks and crevices. Might need to touch up my ink pad. Here we go. And that's our first piece of ephemera to go in that little wallet. Now for this one here, I've inked around the edges of this piece of ephemera, and I've cut myself another piece of cardi card, again grunged the edges and inked around it. And I'm going to use this beautiful piece of scrapbooking paper. I think I'm going to use it from the bottom left hand corner just to mount. I'll take this off and cut it to size in a second. This is Paper Favourites Honeybee Ephemera. It's from Denmark. I got this last year, spotted it on Amazon I think it was, and thought it was absolutely beautiful and couldn't resist. So I'm just going to cut myself a piece of this. I think this one's absolutely gorgeous. I just think the papers just work beautifully together, and that cream cardi paper just separates it really nicely. You can see I've sewn around the edges. I'm just going to use a small amount of glue stick in the centre, and then I'm just going to use 3-in-1 around the outside, just because I don't know whether the glue stick is strong enough to hold everything down, because this is quite thick now. So here we go. Just add tiny bit of 3-in-1 and glue it down to this beautiful, beautiful paper. I love that. It's a beautiful set. And then I'm just going to weight this down underneath a heavy book for a minute or two, just until the glue grabs. Isn't that lovely? Now the last thing I want to make for this wallet is a little mini notebook. I've taken another piece of that gorgeous scrapbooking paper. The papers measure 6 by 6 inches, and I've cut this one down in height to 5 inches. So folded in half, it measures 3 by 5, which I think is quite a nice size. I've taken some scraps of cream paper as well, which I think go really well. These were just from a recycled book that one of my boys got when they were doing the university rounds, and I've had it in my stash for absolutely ages. You can see that I've made some marks in the centre as well, in the centre, and then 1 centimetre from either end. And I'm just going to sew this in using some waxed thread. So taking a really long and sharp embroidery needle, I'm just going to, let me just do this 2.5 times the length of the book is plenty. So let me just trim this, and this is 0.5mm waxed thread. Whoops, I've lost my thread. What I need to do first though is just poke some holes. So let me just clip this together so that it doesn't move. So find your center. Here we go. I'm just going to grab a bulldog clip. There we go. And then where's my pokey tool gone? I'm just going to go through the center. Watch your fingers. This is really, really sharp. So there, of course, at that end, twizzle it through, and this end here. There we go. And then we can just sew it in through the centre and leave yourself a tail. Then out through one of the ends. It doesn't matter which one. Here we go, like this. Hold your tail so that you don't lose it. Out through the other end. This is so quick and easy. Just basic pamphlet stitch. There we go. And then back in through the center again. And what you want to do is come in on the other side to where the first one was. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Whoops, I've lost it. If it comes unthreaded from your needle, it doesn't matter. Just pop it back in. Here we go. Come back in through the other side. Here we are. And then give it a good tug. And so you'll notice that here's the string in the middle, and I've got one to the left, one to the right. I'm going to pull one this way and one this way, which will stop my pages from tearing. And you can see it's nice and tight on the back. And now all I'm going to do is tie it in a knot, a double knot, just to make sure that that doesn't come undone. In fact, we can take that clip away now. We don't need that anymore. And then we can trim those ends. Here we go. And isn't that cute? A really cute little notebook. Let's just burnish that down. That's really, really sweet. The only other thing I want to do is thread some beads onto the bottom. Now, of course, this is quite thick, so it's difficult to get through a bead hole. The easiest thing to do is to use a bent over piece of wire. I've had to squeeze mine quite tightly at the top to make sure that it will go through my bead hole. My options were limited because, of course, you need something with a hole that's wide enough. So all I'm going to do is thread this on. I think the colours of this lumpwork bead match really well. I'm just going to use my pliers now just to pull that through. There we go. Then I can remove that and tie a knot in the end just to stop the bead slipping off. Let's do this. There we go. That will do fine. Pull the bead down. I've already done the one on the other side, and I just think those beads go beautifully with this because we've got the amber and we've got the grey turquoise, which I think works really nicely. So now I can just thread this around, loop it through like this, and isn't that just gorgeous? And I just think these are wonderful to add to a nature journal, send out in happy mail, do whatever you want to with them. Just, you know, really nice themed piece. And of course, if you were going to add this to a journal, you could add this to your signature quite easily and still be able to get to the bits and pieces. So let's have a reminder of what we've got here. Let's move my pliers out of the way. So we've got the little notebook. I think that's really sweet. And then 3 pieces of ephemera. Just love those, and they just fit perfectly into that little pouch. I've got a lot out of this week's project. Of course, I've got my lovely wallet here. Love those beads. Don't they work beautifully? A really good match. And of course, I've got my 2 masterboards as well. So this was the background, and of course, this is the original. Decided to keep this as it was and photocopy it and put the bee ephemera on top. And then this is the photocopied version with the bee ephemera, and again, this is the original. And of course, I can copy these as many times as I like. This background here gives me lots of different options because, of course, I can turn this into any themed masterboard that I want to. And of course, my lovely wallet as well. So that was thoroughly enjoyable. So just to recap, the prompt for this month is nature, and this week's challenge is insects. Now, of course, you could do a masterboard like I've done here, an insect inspired one, or you can do any other project of your choice. You could do a painting, a watercolour, mixed media project. I mean, just so many options, and I am loving the variety that you're sharing within the group. And if anybody wants to follow along with us, I'll leave the link to the Facebook group, the Mixed Media Emporium, in the description box below. So, you know, please do feel free to come along and follow along with our prompts. I just want to touch on why we've gone back to Sunday publishing. Of course, we had a trial where we were publishing at 6 p.m. UK time on a Saturday, and personally for me, it just wasn't working. It just became too much of a rush to get back if we were, you know, doing stuff during the day to make sure that the Facebook group was updated, everything was ready on YouTube to go. It's just so much more relaxing doing it on Sunday. And I also had an awful lot of feedback from people saying that you preferred the Sunday morning format. So that's what we've decided we are going to stick with going forward. So, you know, I hope that suits the majority of you. But if you've enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Do let me know if what you think in the comments below. And most importantly, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.